Anastasia, Nicholas II's daughter, was known for her beautiful long red hair and quick wit. On July 17, 1918, she was only 17 years old when she was woken up by soldiers. She had no idea what awaited her. The soldiers dragged her and her entire family into a basement after they were forced to kneel. Nicholas was ordered to stand up and face a firing squad. A soldier cocked back his rifle and without hesitation pulled the trigger. As the fatal shot rang out, Nicholas fell to the ground, collapsing next to his wife and children, all kneeling before him, their eyes wide with terror. But the most shocking part of this story is not what you think. Keep watching to find out if Anastasia really survived the massacre. Welcome to my channel. Today we will look at the mysterious death of the last Russian royal family, the Romanovs. Make sure to watch till the end to find out about the bizarre circumstances surrounding their deaths and the rumors that have persisted for over 100 years. Nicholas II became the Emperor of Russia in November 1894 after his father, Alexander III, died of throat cancer. At the time, Russia was on the verge of collapse. The economy was struggling and the people were becoming more and more discontent with the government. However, Nicholas did his best to ignore these issues and instead focused on expanding the Russian military. He believed that a strong military was the key to maintaining power and keeping the country stable. Unfortunately, this policy would eventually lead to the downfall of the Russian monarchy. When World War I broke out in 1914, Nicholas made the decision to join the conflict. This proved to be a fatal mistake as the war quickly drained the Russian economy and caused widespread shortages of food and supplies. As the situation in Russia grew more chaotic, people began to call for Nicholas II to abdicate the throne. He resisted at first but ultimately agreed to give up his power in March 1917. The following month, he and his family were placed under house arrest and they spent the next 4 months living in relative luxury at the royal palace in Tsarskoye Selo outside of St. Petersburg. But behind closed doors, the Bolsheviks were plotting their demise. Vladimir Lenin, the leader of the Bolsheviks, wanted to get rid of the Romanov family because he saw them as a threat to the new communist state he was trying to build. The Bolsheviks were a political party that had gained power in Russia during the chaos of World War I. They were committed to creating a communist state and they believed that the Romanov family was an obstacle to this goal. Lenin knew that the family's immense popularity among the Russian people could pose a threat to his regime. If the Bolsheviks were seen as the ones responsible for harming the Romanov family, it could lead to a public backlash. That is why he decided to keep them alive for the time being and use them as a bargaining chip. On July 18, 1918, the Bolsheviks arrested the entire Romanov family, including Nicholas, his wife Alexandra, and their 5 children, Olga, Tatiana, Maria, Anastasia, and Alexei. The family was then taken to a secluded location outside of Yekaterinburg where they were kept in a secret prison. The Bolsheviks planned to use the family as leverage against the anti-Bolshevik forces, hoping that they could exchange them for some of their own captured soldiers. But as the weeks passed and the Bolsheviks grew more paranoid, the family's fate became more uncertain. As the days turned into weeks, the family's captors became increasingly agitated and began to mistreat them. The once lavish meals were replaced with meager rations and the family was forced to sleep in cold, damp cells. Despite the terrible conditions, the family tried to make the best of their situation and supported each other through the difficult time. Nicholas, the man who had once ruled an empire, took on the role of a father and husband and did everything he could to protect his family. He read to them, played games with the children, and shared stories of their life before the revolution. His wife, Alexandra, was also an example of strength and dignity. She took care of her children and never gave up hope that they would be rescued. However, their ordeal would soon come to a tragic end. In the early hours of July 17, 1918, a group of Bolshevik soldiers led by Yakov Yurovsky entered the family's cell and woke them up. They were told that they were being moved to another location and were ordered to dress quickly. The family was then led into a basement where a firing squad was waiting. Without giving them a chance to explain, the soldiers opened fire, killing Nicholas, Alexandra, and their 3 oldest daughters instantly. But there was still one more job to do. The fate of their 2 youngest daughters, Maria and Anastasia, has been the subject of much speculation and conspiracy theories over the years. According to official accounts, the Bolsheviks executed the 2 girls along with the rest of the Romanov family. However, some believe that Anastasia survived the massacre and lived out the rest of her life in hiding. The rumor mill went into overdrive when a woman claiming to be Anastasia surfaced in the United States in 1920. Anna Anderson claimed to be the lost Romanov and even underwent hypnosis to prove it, although her story was ultimately disproven. It sparked a decades-long search for the real Anastasia. Rumors swirled around the world as people came forward claiming to be the missing royal. One of the most popular theories suggests that Anastasia managed to escape the firing squad and fled to Italy, where she lived under the false identity of Princess Natalie Paley. According to this theory, Anastasia was able to flee because she had a twin sister who willingly took her place in the firing line. However, historical records show that Nicholas and Alexandra only had one set of twins, Olga and Tatiana, and both of them were killed in the massacre. Another popular theory claims that Anastasia survived the execution, but only because she was already dead. According to this strange tale, Anastasia had been suffering from the same rare blood disease that plagued her brother Alexei, and she died on the same day as her brother in July of 1918. Some believe that the Bolsheviks panicked and mistakenly shot the wrong person instead of admitting their mistake. They covered up the error and executed the living Anastasia while the dead one was mistakenly buried in the Urals. This wild theory suggests that Anastasia's body was accidentally dug up and given to a monastery in St. Petersburg. There she was mistakenly identified as the Grand Duchess, and her remains were eventually returned to the Romanov family crypt. While none of these theories have been proven true, the mystery of Anastasia's fate continues to fascinate people around the world. In recent years, DNA testing has been used to try and identify the remains of the Romanov family. In 2007, the bones of 9 Romanov family members were discovered in a forest near Yekaterinburg. DNA testing confirmed that the remains belonged to Nicholas, Alexandra, and their 5 children, but Anastasia was not among them. Some believe that her remains may never be found, while others hope that one day the truth will finally come to light. The execution of the Romanov family was a brutal and tragic event that marked the end of an era in Russian history. The family's immense popularity and the circumstances surrounding their death have ensured that their story has lived on for generations. While many questions remain unanswered, the legacy of the Romanov family continues to captivate people around the world. In conclusion, the death of the Romanovs is a tragic and mysterious event that continues to fascinate people today, while the official account claims that the entire family was executed. Rumors persist that Anastasia survived the massacre and lived out the rest of her life in hiding. Although no evidence has ever been found to support these claims, the mystery of Anastasia's fate remains unsolved. It's possible that her remains may never be found, or that the truth of what happened to her may never be known. However, the legacy of the Romanov family and their tragic demise will continue to live on in history.